Welcome back to the channel. My name's Adam Smith, and today we're going to do a top 10 video. As you can clearly see from the title of this one, it's going to be a focus on my top 10 solo games based on video game IPs. It should be a lot of fun. There's been a lot of games that have come over from the video game scene into the board game scene over the years, and the quality of those games has gone up over the years. At the beginning, things were quite rocky, but as the years have progressed, there's been more and more games that have translated from the digital space to the tabletop and done so very successfully. Now, just before we dive into my top 10 list, I have to say a huge thank you to my Discord community for proposing this idea. It's a great one, and I'm excited to share my favorite solo games that are based on video game IPs in just a moment. But first, if you have not joined the Discord community to this point, I'll have a link to that on screen right now in the top right-hand corner. It'll also be in the pinned comment video description. Highly recommend you check it out. When you click on the link, you simply will be brought to a new user lobby, and from there, you just wait until an admin adds you in. At that point, you'll be able to see everything inside, including multiple different threads and hubs where you can discuss all aspects of the hobby there, including ongoing crowdfunding campaigns, games that have already landed that people are currently playing. You can have your questions answered as you play solo games. There's a ton of different avenues inside the Discord. We'd love to see you there. Without further ado, let's check out my top solo board games based on video game IPs. Starting at the 10th spot, I've got Deep Rock Galactic the board game, which is an outstanding true solo experience that perfectly captures the cooperative spirit and tension of the video game while adapting it to a smooth, immersive single-player adventure. From the moment I set up the modular cave system you can see here on screen, I feel like I'm stepping into the depths, armed with my trusty weapons and a plan only for everything to spiral into chaos as swarms of alien creatures emerge from the darkness at me. The game's AI system runs the enemies in a way that feels unpredictable yet balanced, keeping me on my toes without requiring another player to manage it. Every decision I make, from choosing my class and equipment to deciding whether to push deeper for more resources or make a run for a drop pod, feels meaningful. The combination of tactical combat, clever resource management, and the ever-present risk of being overwhelmed by enemies creates a thrilling solo experience that constantly challenges me. I love how the game forces me to adapt to different cave layouts and enemy threats, making each session feel unique. The progression system with weapon upgrades and new abilities adds depth and replayability, ensuring that no two missions ever feel the same. It's one of the rare board games that truly delivers a rewarding and engaging experience without needing any rule modifications or additional upkeep for solo play. If you want to see just how well it works solo, I've got videos on the channel for this that'll certainly help you out. The 9th position on the list belongs to Frostpunk the board game, which is one of the most intense and rewarding solo experiences I've had. From the moment I take control of my struggling colony, every decision feels like it carries real weight, forcing me to constantly balance survival, morality, and efficiency. Managing resources like coal, food, and wood isn't just a numbers game. It's a constant battle against the cold and people's growing discontent, and the harsh reality that sacrifices must be made along the way. I love how the game doesn't just throw obstacles at me randomly. Everything is interconnected, from the shifting weather conditions to the tough choices in the law system, making every playthrough feel like a unique and evolving story. The mechanics of the game ensure that the game runs smoothly without extra upkeep, allowing me to focus on making tough leadership decisions and adapting to unpredictable events along the way. Sometimes I'll push my workers too hard only to face the consequences of exhaustion and injury later. Other times I'll try to be compassionate only to realize that the kindness can come at the cost of survival. The tension of keeping the generator running, managing hope, and preparing for the worst keeps me completely engaged from start to finish. No two games feel the same, and the sense of accomplishment when I barely scrape by and keep my city alive is unmatched. My number 8 belongs to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice, which is an incredible solo experience that truly makes me feel like a master assassin navigating the shadows. From the moment I set up a mission, I'm drawn into the immersive world where every decision matters, whether I'm sneaking across rooftops, silently taking down guards, or uncovering hidden secrets. The game is designed with solo play in mind, letting me control multiple assassins while the enemy AI reacts dynamically, keeping the tension high without overwhelming me with extra upkeep. What I love most is a sense of progression. As I complete missions, my assassins gain new skills, weapons, and gear, which will allow me to fine-tune my strategies and approach each challenge differently. The campaign structure is also a huge highlight, with a rich narrative unfolding as I make choices that will shape the future missions. The stealth mechanics feel incredibly rewarding as well when things go wrong, because let's be honest, they often do. I get those cinematic moments where I have to improvise my way out of trouble. The high quality miniatures and beautifully designed modular board add to the immersion, make me feel like I'm right there. It's a game that constantly challenges me while delivering that perfect mix of strategy, action, and storytelling, making it one of my absolute favorite solo experiences. My number 7 is The Witcher Old World, an absolutely fantastic solo experience that truly makes me feel like I'm living the life of a Witcher, traveling the continent, taking on deadly contracts, and forging my own legend. One of the things I love most is how the game gives me complete freedom to explore, develop my character, and decide what kind of Witcher I want to be. Whether I focus on combat mastery, potion crafting, or diplomacy, every choice I make feels meaningful and shapes my journey in a unique way. The deck building combat system is a standout feature, allowing me to refine my fighting style over time, chaining attacks together in a way that feels strategic and deeply satisfying. Even though it's a competitive game at its core, the solo mode works seamlessly thanks to clever AI-driven rival witchers and the event-based system that keeps things dynamic. Each session feels like a new adventure, with unexpected challenges and monster encounters and moral dilemmas that immerse me in the world of The Witcher, which I'm a huge fan of. The balance of risk and reward keeps me engaged. Do I push my luck to complete another contract, or should I rest and train before taking on something even more dangerous? The beautiful artwork and immersive storytelling make every decision feel like it belongs in the Witcher universe, and I love that every playthrough unfolds differently. It's one of those games that truly captures the spirit of its source material while offering deep, replayable solo gameplay. My number 6 is Follow the Board Game, which is a great solo experience that fully immerses me in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, delivering that same sense of exploration, survival, and tough decision-making that I love from the video games. Right from the start, I feel like I'm carving out my own story, whether I'm scavenging for supplies, taking on dangerous quests, or aligning with factions that will shape the fate of the wasteland. The branching narrative and multiple paths to victory make every playthrough feel fresh, and I love how my choices impact the evolving world around me. The way encounters are handled through a deck of cards that introduce new characters, moral dilemmas, and unexpected twists keeps me engaged along the way, making each decision feel weighty and meaningful. The character progression system is another highlight, allowing me to level up my skills, equip powerful gear, and adapt my playstyle depending on the challenges I face. Even though the game has competitive element to it, when played with others, the solo mode works beautifully because it allows me to fully embrace the role-playing aspect without any pressure, letting me take my time and explore at my own pace. Whether I'm sneaking past super mutants or bartering with settlers or uncovering the secrets of a lost vault, the game consistently throws exciting scenarios my way. The mix of narrative depth, strategic choices, and immersive world building makes Follow the Board Game one of my favorite solo experiences, and it's worth mentioning it's a great solo experience if you have all expansions for it. I've now reached top 5 territory, and in the 5th position, I've chosen Stalker the Board Game, delivering an absolutely gripping solo experience that perfectly captures the tension, danger, and mystery of the zone. From the moment I step into this wasteland, every decision feels like a matter of life or death. Do I risk pushing deeper into an anomaly-ridden area for valuable artifacts, or do I retreat to camp and regroup? The game's AI-driven enemies and dynamic event system ensure that no two sessions ever play out the same, making each run a unique survival story filled with unexpected encounters, deadly firefights, and eerie discoveries. One of the things I love most is how the game balances exploration, combat, and resource management. I constantly feel the pressure of dwindling supplies, the threat of unseen dangers, and the need to adapt to whatever the zone throws at me. The modular map and evolving narrative elements make me feel like an emergent story is occurring just like in the video games where my choices shape my fate. The solo mechanics are finely tuned, so I never feel like I'm just playing a multiplayer game alone. Every enemy movement, every hidden threat, and every mission objective feels like it's actively working against me, forcing me to stay on my toes. The deep character progression system allows me to develop my stalker over time, making each playthrough a personal journey of survival and discovery. Whether I'm scavenging through the ruins, battling hostile factions, or narrowly escaping the effects of a deadly anomaly, Stalker the Board Game keeps me completely immersed in its world. Number 4 on my list belongs to Resident Evil the board game, an awesome solo experience that perfectly captures the tension, resource management, and survival horror elements that made the video game so iconic. From the moment I step into the mansion, I feel the creeping dread of the unknown, knowing that every hallway could hide a deadly zombie or an even worse monstrosity. The way the game handles exploration is one of my favorite aspects. Rooms are revealed as you progress, creating that same sense of fear and anticipation that I get from the video game. I constantly have to make tough decisions along the way, like whether to conserve ammo and try to avoid enemies or risk taking them down before they become an even bigger threat later. The limited resources, tight corridors, and unpredictable enemy movements make every encounter a high-stakes challenge, and I love how the AI system ensures that no two playthroughs will feel the same. The tension builds naturally as I scavenge for supplies, solve puzzles, and try to piece together the best route to survival while keeping an eye on my dwindling health and inventory. The fact that the game embraces the classic survival horror formula while preparation, patience, and planning are key makes it one of the best true solo experiences I've played. The immersive atmosphere combined with the escalating difficulty and strategic combat keeps me completely engaged from start to finish. Whether I'm narrowly escaping a pack of zombies, desperately searching for a green herb, or making my last stand with just a few bullets left, Resident Evil the board game delivers an intense and rewarding solo adventure. We've made it to the top 3 of my top 10 solo board games based on video game IPs. In the third position, Slay the Spire the board game, an absolutely phenomenal solo experience that perfectly captures the addictive deck building, strategic combat, and roguelike progression of the digital game. Right from the start, I feel that familiar thrill of choosing my path through the spire, deciding whether to take on tougher enemies for greater rewards, or play it safe and build up my deck before facing stronger challenges. The card-based combat is just as engaging as in the video game, forcing me to carefully manage my energy, balance offense and defense, and craft powerful synergies that evolve over the course of my run. Every decision matters, whether it's picking the right relic, deciding which card to add to my deck, or choosing how to handle random events. I always feel in control of my journey while still being at the mercy of the game's unpredictable nature. The enemy AI is smartly designed, providing a tough but fair challenge that keeps me on my toes without overwhelming me with extra upkeep. And I love how every playthrough feels fresh thanks to the variety of cards, relics, and paths to take, making each run a unique puzzle to solve. There's an incredible sense of progression as I refine my deck and push further up the spire, hoping my strategy holds up against the increasingly brutal encounters ahead. The solo mode is seamless. This game was practically made for it, allowing me to dive into a deep strategic and rewarding experience without compromise. Whether I'm carefully planning every move or adapting to unexpected challenges, Slay the Spire the board game delivers an endlessly replayable and engaging solo adventure. My number 2, without any doubt, is Bloodborne the board game, an absolutely incredible solo experience that fully immerses me in the dark gothic nightmare of Yharnam. From the moment I begin, I feel the tension of the hunt, knowing that every enemy encounter could be my last if I'm not careful. The game's fast-paced tactical combat system forces me to think several steps ahead, as enemies behave unpredictably and can quickly overwhelm me if I don't manage my stamina, positioning, and attacks wisely. What I love most is how the game captures the essence of Bloodborne's risk versus reward mechanics. Do I push deeper into the city, risking my collected blood echoes for greater rewards, or do I return to the hunter's dream to bank my progress and upgrade my character? The branching campaign structure and richly detailed story-driven missions make every playthrough feel like my own unique journey with tough choices that impact how the game unfolds. The AI-driven enemy behavior keeps encounters tense and unpredictable, so even though I'm playing solo, the game feels alive, like it's actively working against me. The variety of weapons, upgrades, and character builds allows me to experiment with different strategies, keeping the gameplay fresh and challenging every time I return to the table. And of course, the stunning miniatures and dark atmospheric artwork make the world feel as haunting and oppressive as it does in the video game. So whether I'm facing off against relentless beasts, uncovering hidden horrors, or racing against time before the night fully descends into madness, Bloodborne the board game delivers a truly intense and rewarding solo adventure. My number one, the top solo board game based on a video game IP, without question for me, is this War of Mine, the board game. This is one of the most powerful and immersive solo experiences I've ever had, capturing the brutal reality of survival in a war-torn city in a way that few other games dare to touch. From the very first turn, I feel the weight of every decision, whether it's managing scarce resources, searching for food, or choosing how to interact with desperate survivors I encounter. What makes this game so impactful as a solo experience is its deeply emotional storytelling and the unpredictability of the events you'll run into. Every action comes with consequences, and I constantly have to balance survival and morality. Do I risk sneaking into an abandoned house for supplies, knowing I might encounter other desperate people trying to survive just like me? Do I send a character out at night despite their exhaustion, or do I let them rest, hoping we can make it just one more day? The game's event-driven narrative keeps me engaged, creating a living, breathing world that reacts to my choices, making every playthrough feel like a unique and personal story. The emotional weight of watching my survivors struggle, whether through hunger, sickness, or sheer despair, makes every small victory feel monumental. It's not just about making optimal moves, it's about making tough human choices in an environment where hope is scarce. The solo mode is seamless, allowing me to fully immerse myself in the experience without any extra rule adjustments. It's a game that lingers with me long after I've finished playing, making me appreciate the depth of its storytelling and the real-world struggles it represents. If you want to see just how deeply engaging and thought-provoking of a solo game this really is, you can check out my videos on my channel along with almost all of what was on this list, I believe, except for one, the only one, The Witcher Old World is the only one of the 10 I haven't covered on the channel to date, but the rest you can find videos for all of them, including this War of Mine. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up my top 10 solo board games based on video game IPs. I really hope you were able to find something of interest through the 10 that I listed in this video. And remember, this is my list. Your list may look different, and I'd love, as well as the community would love, to see that list in the comments down below. So make sure that you write out your list, whether it's 10, 5, however many you've played. Let us know which ones you've enjoyed, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't checked out the Discord, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, find the link inside the video description and pinned comment and come join the conversation. Thanks again for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.